Barbie has become a feminist symbol showing girls and women that they can be anything they want to be. In her latest incarnation, the iconic doll is Mutia Barbie, the glamorous Filipina who is both traditional and modern.
Now we'll talk to Myrna Yao, the president and CEO of Richwell Trading Corporation, the distributor of Mutia Barbie. Myrna herself is an advocate for women empowerment, leading groups that aim to uplift women's competence and self-reliance. Filipina beauty will be immortalized through the iconic glamour of the Barbie doll. Only 4,400 copies of the Mutia Barbie will be made and sold worldwide. But more than showcasing the unique style and fashion of Filipinas, Mutia Barbie has a story behind it. Local CEO Myrna Yao partnered with Mattel to produce the limited edition dolls dressed in traditional Filipino costume. Yao is vocal about the role of women in entrepreneurship and business. With Mutia Barbie, Yao hopes to promote women's rights and empower Filipinas. She joins us on mornings to tell us more about this advocacy. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning, Paul.
What a pleasure to have you here, and it's very timely because we're actually celebrating Barbie's birthday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday, yes.
How many years is that for Barbie?
Oh, she was produced first in 1959.
Right. Well, yes. She looks great for her age. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about you know, what we're focusing on here is your advocacy, really, for women to be you know, recognized, to be empowered, to take things into their own hands, such as you did, really, with this amazing story of, you know, Barbie is such an iconic children's toy. It's such a well-loved children's toy. But you saw that there was a place to sort of inject, you know, Filipina character into, you know, one of the most iconic toys out there. Tell us that story.
Okay, during the 80s, even up to the late 80s, it seems like every time when I go abroad, they either ask for my calling card or my credit card, and then most of the countries actually would scrutinize you before you are allowed to enter. And one day when we were in Australia, they announced that everybody with a Filipino passport should go to one room. So that really affected me already, because I said, how come most of the country are either doubting us to be either domestic helpers or entertainers?
Right.
So it's quite difficult. So I said, why don't I make, you know, the Philippines known through the Barbie, the culture that we have, the beautiful country that we have. So I thought of doing the Filipina Barbie because of that.
Right. Okay. And it you know, it grew from that small germ of an idea. It grew into this great collection of Barbie, various forms of Barbie, which are, you know, which are, you know, toys in their own right, but they are collector's items. They really are. When did you finally first you know, give birth, so to speak, to your first Filipina Barbie, and how did you work out that arrangement with Mattel?
At the time, in '89, we got the license to produce Barbie locally. So in 1991, I started doing the first Filipina Barbie for 500 pieces each, because it's a collector doll.
Right.
And then so in the brochure, I put that in the brochure, it explained the Philippines and our culture, and how the dress are being made, and with the Spanish tradition that we had. It's all beaded, hand-painted, and it has really something very different from other collector dolls.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, you know, more than just actual toys that people, that young kids played with. These are real collector's items, because there's some very, very intricate handwork that goes into, or that went into these dolls. You said they are hand-beaded. The accessories that you see in here are hand-painted one by one. You know, there's a lot of you know, artisanal skill that goes into these dolls, and you work with some fantastic designers. Patis Tesoro, I understand.
Yes, but this was actually very appropriate for this kind of designs, right? And not only that, even the boxes, we ask a local painter to paint it, and we make it into a box.
Into the box. So
Yeah,
it's really
doing
a
our
showcase
thing,
of Filipino skill and talent.
Yes.
How many different varieties of the Filipina Barbie did you produce?
Well, in the first year, we did, of course, the Filipina Barbie. Then we also did the Flores de Mayo.
Right.
Then we also did a collection of all the animals that we have in the Philippines. And then we also have the collection for all flowers. And then, of course, we have the tradition of the Philippines.
Right. This you pointed to this earlier and said that this is one of your favorites. You
Yeah.
know, why do you feel that the Tradisyong Filipina Barbies stand out for you?
Yeah, because it depicts our tradition, wherein we have Semana Santa
Right.
and Holy Week, which we really value. And number two is that we have anihan, which is the planting rice and harvest. And then we have the bride, the wedding, and we also have the Christmas,
Right.
which are really very important as part of our tradition.
Right. Now, why do you think it's so important to have to have young kids, young Filipino children, young Filipino girls to have a Filipino version of these dolls? How does this sort of, in your imagination, how does this help to empower them as they grow old? How does this set an example for them?
Well, number one, they should not forget the tradition that we have, how our forefathers dressed up. They really dressed very well.
Right.
Yeah, and we just don't take it for granted, right? That's why we have so many beauty queens now.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
And it empowered the whole country in such a way that we are now considered one of the most beautiful women in the world.
Right. Well, you are a fantastic example of the advocacy that you're trying to espouse here. I mean, you have taken charge really of your professional career from your very humble beginnings. You came out to Manila, you studied with your sister. There's a great story there. Tell us about how you went from somebody who dreamt about running their own business, or I don't know if that was really what you set out to do, to where you are now, CEO of Ritual Trading.
Oh, of course, when we were young, my mom is a very empowered woman, that she also wanted to push us to become an empowered woman. So we were only 10 and 11 years old when we were sent out to Manila to study, because we're from Bicol. And we're left on our own, and we had to really juggle things by ourselves, and maybe that made us strong. But my dream is to be with children, and I love children so much that we started from the man's world of business, like commodity trading, and then I went into Goodyear tires. But then, and these are the man's world business. At the end of the day, I still went to my passion, which is children. So I thought of distributing and selling toys. And it so happened that Mattel is the only company around.
Right. Did you find it difficult at the time? Was there, did you find that you had to sort of break through that glass ceiling that everybody talks about, being a woman in what's traditionally more of a man's world, in business commerce, back in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s? Was it difficult for you to make your mark?
Yeah, of course there is difficulty. In fact, the first day that we went out to sell Barbie, no one would like to buy, not even one company. And then they said that you just come back on Christmas Day because toys are only for Christmas. And after that, even when Mattel shut down their plants, for us to be able to come in and manufacture, it would be a difficult endeavor, because they feel like we're leaving the Philippines and now we're coming back. It seems like it's not right. So all the difficulties that came and passed through became a challenge, and that made us stronger.
Right. What's your word of advice to young women out there who sort of want to, like you, make their own mark and cut their own path, so to speak, and really embrace their passions?
Well, everything we should depend on ourselves, and we have to strengthen ourselves. But we have to identify the passion that we have, whatever we want to do, and start on that. Because when you love doing things, you don't feel the tiredness, you don't feel difficulties, and everything become a challenge, and that challenges become actually make you stronger.
Right, and you have to start them young, I suppose. Not all these lessons really come easily to younger kids, but really when you have an example of how to be proud of your heritage, how to be proud of your history, such as the Filipina Barbie. I think we're certainly headed off in the setting, or rather heading our kids off on the right foot. So we really thank you for the great inspiration that you're setting an example of, and thank you for starting this Filipina Barbie doll collection.
Appreciate it too, Paolo.
All right, well, thank you very much to Ms. Myrna Yao, the President and CEO, Richwell Trading Corporation. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Folks, Sharon Cuneta is back, and Game of Thrones is returning to our screen. Sports and entertainment when Mornings at ANC returns.